It was going to be weird. Kyle said it on the broadcast. We didn't really practice all week. Friday was the first time we really did anything physically. Just find a way to win. Because I was watching some of the Miami game. Like, they looked pretty awesome. Then clearly it's just Thanksgiving week. I just give you – I don't expect perfect football because it's just – I know you gave them basically Thursday off. Guys are screwing around. The home team, it just – you probably got family in town. You just had to win this week. Like, the game they played today, defensively, they could probably hang with anybody, obviously. But, like, Miami's going to take a different level effort, especially from the offense. But today, to me, was just if the score ended 9-0, 9-3, 13-10, 6, if at one point it was like, it's 13-0. If they score here and you win 13-7, it's not going to look great, on paper, but who gives a shit, right? This is not Ohio State, Michigan, where you're kind of playing for some style points too. And once you start getting blown out, like, sorry, Ohio State, we don't take you seriously anymore. Just find a way to win. And they did, and now the only thing that matters now is, like, they're 7-4, which a month ago you would have been like, it's going to be kind of hard to get there. Yeah. And they got there. And they've blown out, to me, the Rams and the Cardinals. Like, we've seen it when they're rolling, they can look pretty good. Because we know their defense is hard. You're not scoring on them. It's just going to be, can their offense score points? Today they obviously didn't. So the game, like today's game, I thought, wasn't the most exciting thing I've ever seen.
No. I was pretty confident. I texted you. We can check the timestamp on the text. After the Niners recovered the fumble on the opening drive, these 3 points are going to feel good for the Niners, like, sarcastically. They get the 3 points, and I've seen this game. I'd watched that game before 30 times before. I'd watched the game when the Niners were bad. I've definitely watched that game under Shanahan, where you make a couple plays and then everything kind of stalls out. And maybe part of it is what you said. Short week, coming back from Mexico, that takes a lot out of you. Not just coming back from Mexico, coming back from Colorado Springs, which, was, I think, a taxing trip just because it was so cold, a lot of travel. And like you said, the Thanksgiving, so that's makes it for a little bit of a different week. So it was just find a way to win. As you said to me before we started the stream, for the Niners' perspective, playing the Saints, that was good. I mean, that was, Dalton's an NFL quarterback, but he's probably the second worst quarterback that they'll face all year. And they needed that today. So I think the injury stuff, which we can get to, is a different conversation. But I'm not drawing any dramatic, conclusions about 49ers offense or who they are based on a game with the Saints. When, because by the same token, if they'd won the game 30-0, I don't think it would change anything necessarily about the way you look at them.
I tend to agree. And I'm not trying to prop up the Saints because clearly they have struggled. They clearly have some pretty good players, and they got some guys back from injury. I thought their front four was they were peppering Jimmy today. Peppering Jimmy. I mean, I just saw Spencer Burford's in a walk-in booth. That ain't good. Those interior offensive line were getting taken to school. McGlinchey was, it must just be nice for the offensive line coach. Like, I basically just grade 4 guys. Like, even if 71 gives up a sack once in a while, it's like, I'm not blaming them. Like Michael Jordan missed some shots. I'm just judging the other 4 guys and just praying to God McGlinchey doesn't get someone killed, which I'm pretty sure he had a bad holding or something today. But
Jimmy almost got his knee. I mean,
oh my God, Jimmy a couple times got crushed. But like Olave's pretty interesting player. Obviously, Alvin Kamara's pretty good. Shaheen's not terrible. Like that the majority of that roster. Dennis Allen sucks, okay? Dennis Allen stinks. If you give Sean Payton that team, even with their quarterback situation, like, they're not 4-8. Now, they're not 8-4, but they're probably 500 team. They're competitive. Hell, you might lose that game. Like, remember last year going into that Week 18 game? It's like, well, you either if the Saints win, you better win to get in. If they lose, it doesn't matter. And what'd they do? They blew out the Falcons. Like, Sean Payton's the $15 to $20 million coach for a reason. Dennis Allen's a DC. And the Niners, give them credit, they took advantage of playing a DC. Right? Ultimately, you're playing a team that I heard someone say this, maybe it was Carissa Thompson, that remember when they blew out the Raiders?
Vaguely.
The Saints, 24-0.
Yeah,
and the Raiders, I'm pretty sure, only got past the 50-yard line with 3 minutes left. Mm-hmm. Sean Payton gave the team a pregame speech. or like the night before. I think he talked to the team. But like that's not that's
doesn't do that every week.
No. Because I thought today, like the Saints were trying, right? I mean, they were flying around.
Yeah, they're fine. They're not mailing it in. They let Taysom Hill run their offense. They threw a fade to Taysom Hill on 3rd and goal. What are you guys doing?
A little weird.
So,
well, like when Sean retired, did he mandate like you still got to use this guy in direct snaps? Like, can you just move his position, or can he not really do anything else? I don't know.
Do what? Make him a fullback?
I don't know. I mean, he's not a quarterback.
Same offensive coordinator, right?
Well, I mean, Sean Payton definitely called the plays.
I just mean it's the same. Like, I think the staff is probably the offensive staff is the same.
He did have the one dime to Olave that got overruled when Kyle had a challenge that actually was worked, even though I think that rule is so stupid. But
that you have to take a 3rd step. It's like he caught the ball. He caught
the ball. He landed. His elbow hits, and then the ball comes out. Like
but the elbow. It's about the fact that
I get it, but we have to agree
while he was upright. So if you're falling to the ground, you have to. Yeah. Anyway,
that's the Des Bryant rule, correct?
Yeah. Although I think
possess it through the ground.
Yeah. Exactly. If you didn't possess it while you were upright, if you're going to the ground. So, the Ravens are the Ravens are what, 7-4 now? If you look at the Ravens this year, and they lost today, kind of a bunch of weird games too. I'm not saying the Niners are the Ravens, but I feel like that's more of who the Ravens are. But they lost to the Jags on a 2-point. The Ravens have a 5-point win over the Bucks, a 3-point win over the Browns, a 2-point win over the Bengals. I think they're probably a 3-point loss to the Bills, a 4-point loss to the Giants, and a 1-point loss to the Jags, and a 4-point loss to Miami. Like they're probably not a good comp for the Niners. They're even a little bit more of a weird roller coaster,
and they haven't proven anything in the playoffs. What makes the Niners unique is the respect they're going to get in playoff games, right? They're going to be favored, obviously, whoever they play in the first round. It's at home. But if they play Minnesota in the second round, that's not just a lock Niners +3, right? Couldn't you see that be like Niners +1? Even if one team's 13 wins, the other team's 11 wins. And a lot of people I think would be on the Niners in that game, just based on Cousins, right? I mean that primetime game, his coach had to give him credit after they beat Belichick for like, how about that? It wasn't even 1 o'clock, kind of making a joke in the locker room.
Wait, it wasn't even 1 o'clock? I don't get it.
Well, kind of like, how about Kirk Cousins balling at night?
Oh,
and the Patriots on Thanksgiving night.
You mean in a primetime game, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.